Japan is still struggling to regain control of the nuclear reactors at Fukushima, but it's dealing with another terrible challenge as well. When the magnitude 9 quake hit, hundreds of thousands of children were at school, separated from their parents. Child welfare officers are now on a mission to find kids orphaned by the disaster, while many parents who survived are mourning children swept away. There's also the emotional damage for youngsters who survived, as North Asia correspondent Mark Willisey reports.
Among the sodden debris left by the tsunami, Keitaro Fukuda is searching for a trace of his two children. His 9-year-old son and 12-year-old daughter were swallowed up by the raging black mass of water which tore through their school.
Masaki was a very cheerful and bright boy, and he was great at making people laugh. Lisa loved reading and playing piano, and she was learning English. She was going to middle school from next month.
After churning through here, all the wave left behind were dozens of backpacks and piles of school books and photos. Torn memories of young lives.
I know the soldiers, police and firefighters are trying their hardest to find the bodies, but I cannot stay calm at home waiting, so that's why I keep coming here. I want to find something that belongs to my children.
After the magnitude 9 earthquake struck, the kids and the teachers of Okawa School did everything right. They came outside together, they didn't panic. But then a few minutes later, a 10-metre high tsunami struck. You've got to remember that this school is 6 kilometres inland, and that wall of water swept away 10 of the 13 teaching staff and 84 out of the 108 kids who went to this school. Mothers and fathers return here every day to search for their children and to mourn them. While we are here, another body is brought in from the wasteland. Parents of the missing swarm around, but it's not a child, it's an old woman. Even the dead were disturbed by this cataclysm. Gravestones, which have stood for generations, have been driven against the rocks. Also here today is Kaori Takahashi, whose parents' house once stood in front of the school. Her mother is missing, but she also grieves for the children of her community.
I feel that all the young kids in this town have disappeared. Only the parents are left. I want to speak with the parents, but I can't because it's too sad.
Meanwhile, among the pile of debris, Keitaro Fukuda has found something he wants to show me. It's a photograph of how things once were here. While Keitaro Fukuda yearns for his lost children, other parents worry about how to protect their surviving ones from the trauma of the tsunami. These kids experienced the massive earthquake and the waves it spawned. All lost their homes. Just as the tsunami left behind a wasteland of physical debris, it's also caused immense emotional damage to these children.
And what you'll see is kids will be having nightmares. Some of them have told us that they have nightmares about the water coming. They'll have disturbed sleep. Some children will withdraw into themselves with lots of anxiety. And what we've seen here is the result not just of the earthquake and tsunami, but also anxiety expressed by the children about what's going on at Fukushima. That's added an extra element of fear for these children.
This is what Save the Children calls a child-friendly space. It's a place where kids who survived this disaster can come and play. It also gives parents a break. 7-year-old Hanoka Abe remembers vividly the day the wave came.
After the tsunami hit, my mother did not make it to the school to get me until the next day. But there were other children whose mothers still had not come.
Almost every child here lost friends or relatives, and many are struggling to understand. Hanoka Abe has been told that her uncle is among the dead.
He has a girl called Tomoka-chan, and she is the same age as me. I feel very sorry.
These are the streets these kids used to play in, and these are among the few homes not reduced to matchsticks. This is Hanuka Abe's hometown of Ishinomaki, one of the dozens of communities left in ruins by the tsunami. It's a place where thousands are still missing. Taking a break from scraping the debris from his battered home, Naomasa Sato told us of his cousin and his wife who were swept away in their car. Their 2 children survived.
I heard the kids are alive, but I don't know where they are or who is going to look after them.
So concerned is the Japanese government by the number of orphans this earthquake and tsunami has created, it's now sending out welfare officers into communities like this to try and locate and help these kids. But just talking to people here in Ishinomaki, you get the sense they could be dealing with thousands of orphaned children. Back at the Okawa school, Keitaro Fukuda continues to search for a scrap of his children's lives. Once a place of learning and laughter, this school is now a haunting wasteland, filled only by the unbearable grief left by the tsunami.
I have a job, but I've lost the desire to work. My wife and I have also lost our passion and reason to live.
Mark Willesee there.